course of my career, I've met many people who are struggling in different areas of their life, whether it be in a relationship, issues with parenting, or a personal issue such as depression or low self-esteem. Many people don't have the financial resources or time to devote to coming to therapy on a regular basis. In hopes to meet the needs of those people, I created this podcast, Top 5 with Chris Taylor, where you learn the top 5 things that you can do right now to change that difficult situation in your life. Today's episode of Top 5 with Chris Taylor, we're going to focus on talking about the top 5 things that you can do when talking with your teens about sex. Now, obviously, this is a difficult conversation for a lot of parents to have with their kids. They want to walk that fine line between talking about it, but not necessarily giving permission or encouraging it, right? Because we want our kids to be safe and we want them to, not grow up too fast and not get into situations that, might cause them harm with, the amount of STDs and teen pregnancy and all those things that are just really scary thoughts for, us as parents to have. So again, we want to talk about the top 5 things you can do when talking with your teens about sex. Okay, so the number one thing that we can do, number one, is name the pressure. Know how much pressure are on your kids these days around sex. Media messages, social media, the access that they have to images and videos and graphics on the internet can be overwhelming. All of that is flooding them on a daily basis. Put hormones and natural curiosity on top of that, and the exposure and curiosity just creates a powder keg. So start from that place of having empathy that they're going through so much around this, much more probably than you as a parent are in just worrying about what they're doing. They have put so much onto themselves. Okay, so number 2 is ask them their thoughts. Don't assume that we know what our kids are thinking about sex. Ask them. Have they experienced situations where they felt pressured, or do they think about sex, or is it something they even want to engage in, right? Because it's easy to just think, oh, my kid's at this age, and of course they're gonna start doing this, and it's so scary, and so we would just kind of want to become products of our own denial and not engage and not talk to them about it. But it's important that we ask them, and we ask them what their thoughts are, so that we know sort of where we're starting with them. Number 3 is share your thoughts. Right? You want to know that your kids are sort of taking feedback, and you have a value system that you're trying to instill in your kids, and you hope that you take, or that they take most of those values, sort of to heart and work them into their own approach in life. So share with them what you think about, sex, and when you think it's okay to have sex, and under what circumstances. And maybe you're really a conservative family, and you can't have sex till you're married, or maybe you're less conservative, and it's okay to have sex earlier on, but you think it's more appropriate for college and not high school, and so just share that and use that as a way to sort of build in some expectations. And set some limits. I would caution you about being too firm in the limits, because again, what we know about teens is they will naturally sort of rebel against really hard limits, because they want to be able to remain in control and sort of make their own choices. Okay. Number 4 is focus on the emotion. Sometimes we look at sex when we talk to our kids about just the act of sex, right? And that can be kind of dangerous, because sex involves emotion. And when you take emotion out of it, you really miss a critical component of what this experience kind of will be at whatever point your kids decide to engage in it. So talk to them about the emotion and encourage them to see it as an emotional process. I think a lot of times what kids experience is that through media messages and social media, that it sort of depersonalizes it and kind of objectifies the act and the process. And that can be kind of damaging, because they'll find themselves in a situation maybe that they engage in sex, they don't think about the emotion involved, and they're left with, sort of all of that that comes after without really the tools necessary to work through it. Okay. The 5th thing that, that I encourage you as parents to do in talking to your kids about sex is encourage safety. Now, this is one of those things where you're not necessarily, don't take it as giving permission, because I don't think that that's what it is. It's encouraging responsibility in the choices that they're making. And one of those choices is that they do engage in sex, because whether it happens now or in the future, you want to make sure that they know what to do to maintain safety. You want to make sure that they're using protection if that's something that you value, or if birth control needs to be introduced. You want to make sure that you're taking the risk of STDs and pregnancy away, because obviously you don't want any harm to happen to your kids. So that's a suggestion. I know it'll be harder for some parents to hear that than others, but I really encourage you to have that conversation around engaging in safe practices with your kids, okay? So those are the top 5 things that you can do right now to help your kids talk to you about sex. If you liked what you just saw and you would like more information about how you can implement these top 5 things into your life right now, please check out this and additional videos on my website, www.christaylormft.com.